Let's rock and roll.
Page 98, Azirik. The name of the chapter is Azirik. It's Perik Echad also, which means 11. And we're going to start from the let's start from Amarav Shmuel Bar Yehuda, Amarav Abba, Amarav Huna, Amarav. So we ended off yesterday that the Kamashman, we came into the conclusion that we don't say that something contained in the airspace of domain is legally viewed as if it had come to rest there. Good morning, Pinchas.
Hey, Pinchas.
So Amar Shmuel Amarav, Amar Bi'ab Amravun Amarav, Amavir Ab Amis Rishus Sarabim Mekur. One who transfer an object for amis in a roofed public domain, Patur is exempt. Why? Because it does not resemble the encampment of the Israelites in the wilderness. So it's Arba Amos, it's 4 Amos in Rishus Harabim, but it's Mekura, it's roofed. Place that is, think of bus stop or place. Mall. But Mekura. Can you check, Pinchas, check with David if he's able to get on, because he told me he had a hard time getting on. So see if you can contact him, find out if he can get on.
I could have done that.
Yeah, but can you help explain to him how to?
No, let him do it.
So, so Einigmor says, Golis, but there were in the wilderness the tabernacle wagons. There were wagons. The Mekeros Havian. What are the Mekeros Havian which have roofed? The wagons had roof. Concerning the tabernacle wagons, the areas beneath them, uveneim, and the areas between them, v'tzidei, and the areas to their sides, Rishus Rav had the status of public domain. Kikom Rav, concerning what does Rav says statement with the rosa, concerning the areas underneath the gaps between the stacks of boards. In the diagram they show you that area. You have tzideim, their sides, and tachtem, and underneath. Mik de urko dagolo kamave. What was the length of the wagon? Chamish amin. It was 5 amis. Pusya de keresh kamave. What was the width of a board? Amosu fag. 1.5 amis. Kama moisiv, and how many stacks of boards could one then place on the wagons? Klosa, 3 stacks covering a total of 4.5 amis of the wagons. Partially palgod amosa, left over then in the open space of half an amma, kishodili mar beinu bein. When master distributes it evenly between the 2 gaps, a quarter amma for each gap. Kilovu dami, it is as if the stacks are extended across the gaps, legally closing those gaps. Accordingly, even the areas beneath the gaps were legally considered roofed. So we return to our original difficulty that Rav seems to assign public domain status to the roofed areas under the wagons. Do you think that one would place the boards atop the wagons on the wide side, which measured 1.5 amas? This is not so. One placed them on the narrow side, which was only an amma across. This would leave wider gaps between the stacks, too wide to be considered closed through the principle of lavud. But in the final analysis, what was the thickness of a board on its narrow side? Amosa, in amo, about 18 inches. How many stacks? What are you doing like this? An amma is 18 inches.
Yeah, but all right, I'm thinking, he said first, an amma is, and then he said the width was a 1.5 ammas. Right? Are we talking about the same board, correct?
Right, so
So it's 1.5.
how much is 1.5 amma?
Like,
Much more. Amma is from here to here.
all right. So then.
All the way to your elbow.
Okay, so this is okay.
18 inches and another 9.
So then that's 1.5. Or this.
No,
that's
this is just one.
So then it's like this is
Yeah.
the width.
So that's what I'm saying. It was a very thick boards.
Yeah.
So in a final analysis, what was the thickness of a board? On its narrow side, it says it was amma, 1 amma, 18 inches. How many stacks could then be placed on the wagon? It says it's 4. 4 stacks, covering a total of 4 ammas of the wagon's length. Each one was amma, total 4 ammas. Partial amos, so left over then in an open space of an amma kishodim albenu venu, when master distributes it evenly among the 3 gaps that are between the 4 stacks. Kilovudam is as the stacks are extended across the gaps, legally closing those gaps. You have either the first. If you look at the first picture, it shows you 3 boards. If you look at the second picture, it shows you 4 boards, which the narrow side is one place and the thicker side is on the other. So there was some kind of, in both cases, you had a gap in between. In the first case, it shows you 1/4 of an inch. It is fine according to the one who says that the boards were an ammo thick below at the base. But above the base, they tapered gradually. They tapered gradually until they were as thin as a finger at their tips, meaning they were pointy at the end. Shapir, according to that view, your resolution works well, for there could then have been gaps between the stacks too wide for the application of lavud. And Rav's statement about the public domain status underneath could apply to the areas underneath those gaps. According to the one who said, just as they were an amma thick below, so too there were an amma thick above at the top. What is there to say? The remaining amma of space, when distributed among the 3 gaps, would leave gaps of less than 3 tfachim between the stacks along their entire length. How then could Rav say that the area underneath constituted a public domain? The stacks of boards were not evenly spaced, but rather positioned in a cliff formation. This created in the middle of the wagon between the stacks a gap an amma wide, which is too wide for lavud to apply, to consider it mechubo. At be'echa emanachlu, agabu dagol. Where did one place the clip formation of the stacks? Agabu dagol, on top of the wagon. Agol gufa mekir ave, but the wagon itself was roofed. A roof was formed over the ground beneath it. The area directly underneath the wagon was roofed even at the point that they were directly opposite the gap between the stacks. How then could Rav state that the area beneath them had the status of a public domain? So Amar Shmuel be'echides, Shmuel said be'esedes, the wagons were not floored, rather the sides were connected to each other by several long and widely spaced pegs, there was large areas under the wagon's body that were open to the sky. Like in the diagram over here, they show you a picture of it. The tabernacle boards were an amo thick below at the base. But above the base they tapered gradually until at their tips they were as thin as a finger. Because the pasuk says they shall be a samim at its top. And elsewhere it states they came to an end, they were cut off. These are the words of Rabbi Yehuda. Just as the birds were an amo thick below at the base, so too were they an amo thick above at the top. Stated together. Or says tamim, it's written tamim, which indicates that the boards tapered towards the top, as Rabbi Yehuda argues. How does Rabbi Nechemia account for that expression? How the Leisu Shleim, Rabbi Nechemia will explain that the expression, Rabbi Nechemia will explain that expression, the word samim or tamim, to indicate that they should bring whole timbers for making of each board. Velo Leisu den Israel, they should not bring fragments. Each board should consist of one solid timber, not of several pieces joined together. That's what samim means. But according to the other one, Rabbi Yehuda, 2, why is it is written together, which implies that the board's dimensions were uniform? How can he maintain that the boards were tapered? So that expression together comes to teach only that one should not place them out of alignment with each other. They had to align to each other. You can see it in the diagrams how they are all aligned. Just as the bottom is, the thickness is 1 amo, so at the top it was also amo. According to the opinion, to the one who said just as the boards were an amo thick below, so were they an amo thick above. Ein dichtiv, pasuk says mishkan. And for the western end of the tabernacle, you shall make 6 boards.
So they're saying they're not tapered here. And this is the machlokas?
We'll see. No, it says there is an opinion that says that they were even in size in the bottom and the top.
Okay.
It says, the pasuk tells us you have to make 6 boards. Shnei kroshim tasel muktzois. And 2 boards shall you make for the corners of the tabernacle at the end.
Okay.
They all say pusya dehoni. For the width of these 2 corner boards comes memalele lesumcha dehoni, and fills the thickness of these end boards at the western end of the northern and southern walls. But according to the one who says that the boards were an amo thick below at the base, but above they tapered gradually until they were as thin as a finger at their tips. You can see the diagram in the bottom. That's showing you a plank of boards that were amo in the bottom, but very thin at the top. So it's 2 opinions. One opinion says they were even on both sides, and one says that only on one side they were amo, and the top they were very thin. Ayil v'aynofik says this board would go in this, it would go in, and this one would go out. It'd be hard to keep it straight, to keep it even. The Gemara says the shofilu kiturin. This is not difficult, but according to this view, one will taper them, the corner boards of the western wall, like mountains. You see it? The first diagram shows you ammo in the bottom, ammo on top, so it makes it.
Yeah.
The second, it shows you, it says 1 second, if they're narrow at the top, they're not going to fit. If you don't put those two corners.
Right, so that one's sticking out.
Right, and then you have another one that it shows you which slope on two sides. Similarly, these corner boards, in addition to being tapered in their thickness, were also tapered at the outer side of their width, so that they would match the tapered contours of the end boards at the western ends of the western walls. So the Gemara elaborates on another pasuk concerning the tabernacle walls. The pasuk states, and the middle bar inside the boards, extending from end to end. Tano b'nei sayoimid. The middle bar was positioned miraculously. This is many times being said about Yaakov. Yaakov Avinu, the B'riach HaTichon, the middle bar. Why? What was the miracle about it? So it says in number 12, after all, 3 walls had been set up and secured in a U shape. Right?
Yeah. A
single middle bar, more than 70 amos long, was inserted at the western end and miraculously snaked around the corners at the western ends until it came through the last board at the eastern end. So it's not possible for a board to do a 45, right? Or a 90.
90, right.
How can you do a 90 with a board?
Rabbi Quinn was always excited about this.
Yeah. So that's the B'riach HaTichon. Besides its length, but to be so flexible. That's why they said snaking.
Yeah, it could never happen. I mean, Derek Ateva couldn't happen.
It would break, right?
Right. Well, they don't, you just don't have wood like this. I mean.
Yeah. Even PPC, I don't think would bend this way, this much. Very thin PVC.
Very hard.
Yeah.
The S.
So it says, "B'nes hayom," the middle bar was positioned miraculously. And you shall make the tabernacle spread of 10 panels. The length of one panel was 28 amas. And the width of one panel was 4 amas. Show Shedeu Karlev, who side the Mishkan, place the length of the panels across the width of the tabernacle. Kama Avio, what's the total? Esrin usmone, the 28 amas. Esrin usomne. Dal asali go, subtract 10 amas for the roof over the inner width of the tabernacle. Poshu teshel egisa, remaining are 9 amas of curtain to this, the northern side. V'teshel egisa, and 9 amas of curtain to this, to the southern side, to be draped over the outside of the walls. Rabbi Yehuda, according to Rabbi Yehuda, who holds that the boards tapered to a finger width on top, miglayo amo adonim, only the ammo of the sockets was left exposed. Rabbi Nechemia, according to Rabbi Nechemia, who holds that the boards remained an ammo thick even on top, migalio amo de kroshim, an ammo of the boards was left exposed.
That means it's stuck past the wagon. It's like hanging over the wagon.
No, he says it in 15. Since the walls were an ammo thick on top, an extra ammo of curtain was taken up on each side by the width of the boards. Only 8 amos of curtain drapes draped over the backs of the walls on the northern and southern side, covering 8 amas of the walls outer, perpendicular,
90 degrees.
Perpendicular. 10 amas surface. This left the amma high sockets exposed, as well as 1 amma of board on top of them. See illustration.
Okay, I don't know why I was thinking it's still on the wagon. It wasn't. This isn't about the wagon.
Yeah, because the drapes or the curtain did not cover the bottom board, so it needed to be only 8.
It would be short. The curtain
Was shorter. It was only 8.
Right.
So the width it was 12, then 8 and 8. So that's
So there'd be 2
16.
on the bottom.
16, 28. Yeah, total 28.
Yeah, so you would fold
And
back.
then the width in the middle was 10.
So did they fold up the parochas when they were traveling? They must have, no?
Yes. That was the Meroli, no?
Right.
Because carrying the
Right.
no Gershon. Meroli was carrying the boards and
Right. So they
Gershon.
had, I mean, this thing had to be. It was a tremendous, big parochas.
Yeah. The woods were the heaviest part.
They were heavy, but I mean.
That's why I needed wagons for the
Right.
woods.
I mean, but the parochas is always a big thing.
Yeah.
You know, if you take serious curtains even in your house, like your window.
Heavy.
Yeah.
So Shali Busar the Mishkan placed the combined width of the panels across the length of the tabernacle. Kama Havio, how much was the combined width? Arboin was 40 amas. Dal Klosin Leiga, Poshul Asar, remaining are 10 amas of curtain to be draped over the western wall. Le Rabbi Yehuda, according to Rabbi Yehuda, who holds that the boards tapered to a finger width on top, Mikas Yamad Adonim, even the amma of the sockets was covered by the curtain on the western side. Le Rabbi Nechemia, according to Rabbi Nechemia, who holds that the boards remained an amma thick even on top, Migal Yamad Adonim, the amma of the sockets was left exposed on the western side. The Gemara makes the analogous calculation. Analogs? Analogous calculations for the next layer of the tabernacle's covering. Pasuk says, you shall make panels of goat hair for a tent spread over the tabernacle spread. 11 panels shall you make them. The length of one panel, 30 amas. You can see the diagram also, 30 amas on top, the length from one side to the other. The roof, the roof covering. And the width of the panel was 4 amas. Shudeu Kailu Fusad, the Mishkan placed the length of the panels across the width of the tabernacle. How much was the spread of each panel? Tlosin, 30 amas. Dal Asali, go subtract 10 amas for the roof over the inner width of the tabernacle. Poshulu Asar Lai Gisa, remaining are 10 amas of 10 spread to this the northern side. Asar Lai Gisa, and 10 amas of 10 spread to this southern side to be draped over the outside of the walls. Rabbi Yehuda, according to Rabbi Yehuda, who holds that the boards tapered to a finger width on top, Mikas Yamad Adonim, the amma of the sockets was covered by the tent spread. Rabbi Nechemia, according to Rabbi Nechemia, who holds that the boards remained an amma thick even on top, Migal Yamad Adonim, an amma of the sockets was left exposed. Tanya Namiyachid was also taught in a Vaisa, Vam mizeh bo'idef. Pasuk state concerning the longer panels of the tent spread, and the Amma on this side, and the Amma on this side, in excess, in the length of the panels of the tent spread, shall drape over the sides of the tabernacle spread, on this side and on this side to cover it. What does the pasuk mean to cover it? Lechasis Amma shel Adonim. This means to cover the Amma of the sockets left exposed by the first layer of covering. Divrei Rabbi Yehuda. These are the words of Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Nechemia, when Nechemia says lechasos Amma shel Kroshim, this means to cover the Amma of the boards above the sockets left exposed by the first covering. So you can look at the diagram, see the different opinions of how it looked, whether it was 10 on the top, 12, it was 9 on the sides, or it was 10 on the sides, was inner, outer. Yeah, you see the diagrams. Yeah. The Gemara now deals how the tent spread covered. So it says, Shadi Pusal Le'orki the Mishkan. Place the combined width of the 11 panels across the length of the tabernacle. Kama Havyu. How much was the combined width? Arboin ve'arbo, 44 amos. Da tlosin leigo. Subtract 30 amos for the roof of the inner length of the tabernacle. Po shelu arba srei. Remaining are 14 amos of tent. Da tarte lechafla. Subtract another 2 amos for the fold over the eastern front of the tabernacle. For it is written, you shall fold the 6th panel over the face of the tent. Remaining are 12 amos of tent hanging over the western wall of the tabernacle. It is fine according to Rabbi Yehuda, who holds that the boards tapered to a finger width at the top. Because it's written, half the extra panel shall drape over the back of the tabernacle. According to Rabbi Nechemia, who holds that the boards remained an amma thick even on top. What does the verse mean when it says half the extra panel shall drape on the ground? Only 1 amma of the extra panel lay on the ground.
So that's in 26. So
that's what tisrach means. It is extra.
So it's laying there, hanging, dragging on the ground.
Tisrach mechavu Yisrael. Menachem will explain that pasuk to mean that it should drape beyond its companions, beyond the point covered by the first tabernacle spread. Remember, there was 3 tabernacle spreads. Tana dever Rabbi Shmuel. The Gemara said, "Brisa concerning the axis, of tent covering draped on the ground beyond the tabernacle western wall." It was taught in the canon of Rabbi Shmuel. To what was tabernacle similar? It was similar to a woman who travels in the street. And with her train trailing behind her, those long
that's getting married,
gowns, the long
or somebody in royalty.
Yes, so too the tabernacle's tent covering trailed behind it.
Yeah, you don't see that.
So the Gemara cites a brisa which describes the arrangement of various elements of the tabernacle. Tanu Rabbon charutzim erkoshim. Rabbis told in the brisa the boards were chiseled at the bottom around the tenons. Right, around the tenons. And the sockets were hollow.
Otherwise, this would have been, it was tremendously heavy as it was.
And the hooks in the loops, and the hooks in the hoops, or in the hooks in the loops, appeared as stars in the sky. So we'll stop here. We'll continue, God willing, tomorrow.